Okay, we're back with Chris Jasper. And Chris, we're going to go to our Facebook fan page. First of all, DJ Chill Night that did the remix on Inspired that we'll probably play a little bit later. He sends his congratulations to the release of your new CD. And then Anna King says that now another reason why I love the Isley Brothers so much, Juilliard is an added influence to one of the most trailblazing groups all around, okay? And let's see, Riwi up in Waukegan wants to know, what are all the instruments that you play? What instruments do you play?
I play a little bit of drums, I play a little bit of the guitar too, and bass also. I did, some of those parts on some of the songs, bass parts, and guitar. Only thing I didn't play on the albums, well, I did play a little drums too, some percussion, yeah. So I played a little bit of everything on those albums.
Now, on the early albums, Ernie, he kind of started playing drums a little bit, and then he got a lot better as it went on. I remember, he was playing the drums, and you guys basically would go in and lay down the tracks for the group, and then everybody would else come and be over that. But
Ernie started off playing the drums. That was his first instrument, and I would when we were a lot younger, I would come up to New Jersey because I still lived in Cincinnati while they lived in New Jersey, and I would come up every summer and we would jam together, just me and Ernie, and I play piano and he would play the drums, and then Marvin. He wasn't playing an instrument at the time. We said, "Look, Marvin, we need a bass player to round out this trio." And so O'Kelly Isley, the oldest one, he bought Marvin a bass, and then Marvin, started to learn the bass, and he got better and better. And then we developed a little trio that we played some high school things and some dances, church events, here and there, and then that's how the three of us, got started as a trio. And then later on, we joined the group, the Isley Brothers. When they heard us, they said, "Hey, man, these guys are really good." They recorded us, did some of our original stuff in the studio, and then from that point on, we started to play on the records. And then that's how the six-member group, the three-member group Isley Brothers grew into six members. That's kind of how it's, in a brief synopsis there. That's how it happened.
Well, that kind of answers the question that Rosa in Valencia, Spain has. But, I always noticed that Marvin had I call it a sneaky bass. He was like a sneaky bass because he was always in the pocket, but it was kind of a sneaky bass. He would sneak up, very, very subliminal. But Rosa in Spain, who was the one that brought out all of the limos, she brings out the limos for drive time. So she says, "Hi, Chris Jasper. I feel honored to have the chance to ask you some questions in the CD release parties. Number one is, and I think you kind of addressed that, how were your beginnings as a family music group?" And you've kind of answered that. When did you start your musical career? At what age? And did the brothers get along?
Well, like I said, I explained a little bit of that. I mean, I started playing when I was like 7 years old. I used to play by ear at first. I used to, listen to the radio, Jackie Wilson and all those guys, and Ray Charles, and I used to hear the songs on the radio, and then I'd go up to the piano and, fill it out the chords, and play it by ear. And then, but my mother said, "Look, you should learn how to read music. You should go and take some lessons," because she knew a professor at the Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati, and she said, "You should take some lessons from Professor Gibbs." And I said, "Okay, that sounds like something I can do." And I started from a young age playing and studying theory, so that helped me a lot when I got together with Ernie and Marvin later on, because I had that good background. I was fortunate enough to have that good background in theory and everything, and it kind of just moved us along, really, really well.
Well, see that's unfortunately one of the things that electronics, even though I'm a technocrat. I tell people I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm a technocrat. But technology is taking people so far away from the actual structure of what it takes. But people don't realize that if you really know how to write music or how a song is structured and what's supposed to happen, that you really, help. But one of the problems that I have with today's music is that it loops, and they're playing loops and they're playing hooks. And to me, that's not a complete song. That's kind of like, okay, you got the hook, where's the rest of the track at? I mean, and I say that all the time. And the kids, they don't really know the difference because they only are exposed to what they're exposed to unless they are shown different. So we need more people like, fortunately, R. Kelly is writing music, and he writes songs that have, composition to it, as opposed to, just dealing with loops. But so many of these stars nowadays, I mean, they get out and they just loop it. They get one melody and that's good, and they say, oh, well, that's good enough, and they can't take it to the next stage. Or like you guys said, that song, Take Me to the Next Stage, Take Me. They can't take you there. They just kind of loop you around, and it's kind of like chasing your tail. And it sounds good, but, to somebody that studies music or knows music or is really into the composition of music, it gets kind of boring,
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you can only write what you have been exposed to and what you've learned, and if your educational background is limited, what you put out may be limited,
Wow.
But it's also, that's why I always emphasize education, and every chance I get, I'll do that. I'll say education is so important, because it is. I mean, it seems to be a lot of focus on material things, in life, and material gain and that type of thing, which is nothing wrong with that. But you as a person, the individualism is important too. What a person has within them, what they've learned, what they bring, because that's the only thing that makes you a different character, a different person, is what you have inside your mind. And it's a very important thing to broaden your mind. And that's why I wrote the song Keep Believing, is because, people need to, concentrate on what's important. Education is what can make their life a lot different, a lot better. And as it relates to music, it's the same thing. It applies to music. The more you know, the more you can apply to it. And you have so many different ways you can take a song. Like when I'm writing, a lot of times, sometimes I experiment with a lot of different chord changes. Not just one or two. I can take it in a lot of different directions.
Exactly.
And when I'm talking to my son, Michael, when he's writing something, I said, look, Mike, now, it's going one way now, but what you've already started with can go in a lot of different directions. And if a song is going, in that direction, sometimes take it there, but the problem is, if you don't have a background in music, sometimes you won't know the possibilities.
That's right.
I mean, and that's the thing that sometimes is lacking, and I hate to hear it when some of the schools are taking out their music program.
Oh man!
And because music does help, creativity helps you think, on your feet.
Well, it also helps you to think in different directions because not everybody's going to be an athlete. Not everybody, and they haven't killed the sports programs. Not everybody is going to be, a politician. They haven't killed or scientists. So, it used to be back when I was in school that everybody, my first instrument was a trumpet. And everybody could sign up for the band. I think we probably had the worst sounding orchestra, in the doggone city, because me and a guy named Bernard Davis, we laugh at it. We used to get our trumpets up and get behind people's heads and just blast them.
Yeah.
But still, look where it ended up. Just having the exposure, and society pays overall for not caring for their own, because you end up with different things, but we want to make sure we make it through. So with that, we're going to go to the next track, which you have introduced, Keep Believing, on the CD, inspired by Chris Jasper. We'll be right back with more questions, more Chris Jasper, and more questions from Rosa. Okay, here we go. Keep Believing off the album inspired by none other than Chris Jasper.
All right. Put down those guns and pick up those books. And listen to what I'm getting ready to put down.